Ooh, look what the cat dragged in! Edgar Allan Poe. I respect Poe and his work, but most of it is just too morose for my literary taste. But I do have a taste for some pussy, and Poe's The Black Cat is no exception. The story is about a narrator whose alcoholism spirals him into insanity. He ends up killing his cat, but it comes back to life, and in a fit of rage, sticks an axe through his wife's head. So, to hide the body, he seals the corpse behind a wall. The police come, and it looks like he's going to get away with it, but at the last second, a meowing is heard from behind the wall. Somehow, he unknowingly sealed the cat along with the body. There's a number of film adaptations, and we are commemorating gynecologists, so let's examine some pussies. The 1934 The Black Cat has nothing to do with the Poe story, but nevertheless, the movie is amazing. It stars Bela Lugosi, best known for playing Dracula, and Boris Karloff, best known for playing Frankenstein's monster. Look at that grin, reminds me of the Grinch, which makes sense, since Karloff did the narration for that cartoon. Karloff plays a Satan worshipper that holds ceremonies in his basement where he sacrifices girls, as well as keeping the bodies of dead girls in cases. And one of them is Lugosi's wife, who Karloff killed while Lugosi was in World War I prison camp. And he marries Lugosi's daughter. And then he rapes and kills her anyway. Oh my goodness, no wonder Lugosi wants to tear him limb from limb. Karloff has that foreboding and intimidating presence, and so does Lugosi, but in a different way. His eyes are so commanding and hold so much emotion. No wonder he was so memorable as Dracula, and he musters so much heart into his words. They bite and take over you like a vampire would.
Built upon the ruins of the masterpiece of destruction, the masterpiece of murder.
And when Lugosi goes insane at the end, oh.
That's what I'm going to do to you now. Tear the skin from your body. Slowly. Bit by bit.
As for the Black Cat, I don't think it's even in it for 1 minute. Lugosi sees it, has a random panic attack, and throws a knife and kills it. It was across the room. The next Black Cat movie came out in 1941, and again has nothing to do with the Poe story. Unfortunately, this is a pretty forgettable film. It's one of those murder mysteries that was extremely popular at the time, where someone gets killed in an old house, and the people there have to weed out which of them is the killer. Lugosi is in it, but it's a pathetic part. He plays a gardener that barely speaks and just stares and makes funny faces the whole time. It's embarrassing after just seeing him in the 1934 Black Cat. Unfortunately, this was a reflection on Lugosi's life. A combination of being typecast as Dracula, an addiction to morphine, producers preferring Karloff over him, among other things, his life was spiraling down the gutter. I feel sad just writing and talking about it. As for the cat, it has a little more productivity than the last film. There's one part where they switch the cat with a paper mache looking one for a second or two. Why'd they do that? There's a bunch of random cats in the movie, why couldn't they just get another one? Maybe it was scared of heights. I guess it pussed out, but it makes up for it when it lights somebody on fire. But you want to see more Black Cat murderous action? How about the 1981 Italian-produced film, The Black Cat? Now this is a pussy you don't want to F with. Where'd it go? Oh no, it's a ghost cat! It can appear anywhere, anytime, giving the sensation that you're surrounded by cats. And it's pretty methodical with its killings. You'd swear this cat went to college. While it does slash and dice people up, it can open doors, albeit very slowly, lock people in a room and cut off their air supply, force people to crash their cars and burst into flames, get run over by cars, fall off planes and get impaled, and start a house fire, which somehow the entire vicinity flares up in a matter of seconds. That pillow isn't going to kill that fire. Get out of the house! But she just stands there for 5 minutes and eventually metamorphosizes into a fiery banshee and jumps out a window. Idiot. Turns out the cat is being controlled by this Lord of the Rings looking guy. He has the power to communicate with the dead, and uses the souls of the dead to command the cat to kill people. But he hangs the cat anyway, which I find hysterical. The idea of just making a little noose for a cat? Why don't you just kick him in the head really hard? But it comes back. And I think now that cat controls him, it's not very clear. Nor why he had the cat kill random people to begin with. I can't wrap my mind around it. The film makes up for it with great atmosphere. Even though a human could easily kill a cat in a fight, and cats just generally aren't scary looking, they make it scary, and the tension is really high. Plus, there's about 800 shots of close-ups of eyes! You could make a drinking game of it, but I think you die of alcohol poisoning within the first 10 minutes! And there's a lot of POVs from the cat, slinking around and spying on its victims. It's genuinely creepy. The only thing that's disappointing is the ending. They shoehorn in the Poe story at the last second. There's these really bad bat props attacking the protagonist, then the evil guy comically knocks her out. And then he seals her up behind the wall, only for the cat to expose him to the cops from behind the wall. It's very lackluster. But one film that fleshes out the Poe story fairly well is Corman's Tales of Terror. It's an anthology of 3 stories, the middle one pertaining to the Black Cat. Although the cat isn't the focus point. It kinda sits in the back burner, and the film focuses on Peter Lorre, who helped inspire the caricature of that deranged character from the Looney Tunes franchise. He plays the drunk, and he plays it so well, you'd think he actually was drunk. And I wouldn't doubt it, since Lorre in his last years was a heavy drinker and probably showed up to the set intoxicated. But he provides a comedic tone. The whole segment is very comedic and very enjoyable. Some of the camera angles insinuate a comedic touch, like appearing between wine bottles, and the sets are bright in color, completely contrasting the darkness of Poe's story. Probably the funniest part is when Lorre and Vincent Price have a wine tasting contest. You can tell Price just loves acting and puts so much thought and gusto into his characters. What's with all the faces? Every time I watch this scene, I see a new funny face that I haven't noticed before. Oh man. Corman must have really liked his face as well, as he had Price star in 7 Poe films of his. They're just visually stimulating, and the sets are appealing to look at, especially when you know that Corman worked with a very, very small budget. And probably the best one is The Raven. Most people are familiar with the story about a man who long yearns for his deceased Lenore, the Raven quoting Nevermore, and the wizard battle. Yeah, the wizard battle! Remember that from the poem? Remember when 2 wizards were dueling and zapping at each other? It has to be seen to be believed. With your own 2 evil eyes, yeah! How's that for a transition? It's 2 films in one, the Black Cat segment being directed by Dario Argento. It's basically a modern day version, and it's probably the most faithful to the source material, but it's a little too gory for my taste. With me, I don't like a lot of blood with my pussies. I like looking at them, not looking away from them. It's disgusting. And it doesn't help when the cops open the wall. I told you pussies get rotten when you don't take care of them. But the movie implies that the cat had kittens in the wall. How? With the corpse? Half the time, I don't understand what's going on. Here, the main character is a photographer, and he starts taking pictures of the cat, and then he awkwardly transitions into strangling it. I hope the cat received a good paycheck for this, because it's so hard for me to watch. And then he makes a book of it! Aww, who would buy the book? Who would even publish this? It's awful. There's one part where he transports to medieval times. What does this have to do with anything? Is she having morning sickness? I find the whole movie too disconnected, but I don't consider it bad. Maybe some of you hardcore horror fans will get a kick out of it. But the title still mystifies me. 2 evil eyes. Is it pertaining to each story having 2 evil eyes in it? Or is it a mistake and it meant 2 evil pairs of eyes? Regardless, the cat is supposed to have only 1 eye, since in the Poe story, the cat had its eye gouged out. The only film that I know that incorporates this is one that's called Maniac from 1934. Though it does have some of Poe's story elements, it's still considered one of the worst films ever made. And the eye gouging part makes me laugh. It's just a cheap effect, but I can't imagine what they put that cat through to make such a ridiculous scene. As far as I know, the animal wasn't harmed, and it already had one eye to begin with. That's why they selected the cat for this scene. Is he really going... Is he... he ate the eye! Well, at least he didn't eat the whole pussy. Now I'm starting to feel like a maniac. I guess that time of the month is really starting to get to me. So let's move on and visit the works of another famous novelist's films involving killer pussies. The moon is full, the blood's flowing through my veins, I'm seeing red! It's that time of the month.